So let's take a moment and talk about how ripples form. So ripples are forming from the movement of either air or water. Most of the time we're going to see it in water, especially where we live. If we see it from air movement, right, blowing wind, we call those dunes. So let's take a look at how our ripples form. So generically, let's say here we are on the bottom of a stream, right? Here's my water. Got some fishes in there. So here we are, and on the bottom of the stream there are grains. Whether they're sand grains or gravel grains, it doesn't matter. There's different grains. And as this water is flowing, it's pushing those grains. So each grain is moving. But each grain has a slightly different size, so it's moving at a slightly different speed. So what's going to happen are these grains are going to start piling up on top of each other. They're going to start piling up and piling up and piling up until we form a ripple structure. Okay? So we're going to form ripple after ripple after ripple as these things start piling up on each other. Now, as you saw, we have two different kinds of ripples. Okay, let's talk about our asymmetric ripples. So asymmetric ripples look something like that, right? They're not symmetrical. When I see an asymmetric ripple, it is telling me the direction that the water is moving. So remember, I told you we have all those little grains that are stacking up. What happens is the water is flowing, and those little grains are getting stacked up until it reaches too high, and then it falls off. So the grains are getting stacked up in this direction, which tells me the water is moving this way. So the water is always moving in the direction of that long slopey side of the ripple. Now, this can be some very practical, useful information. Say, like for me, I dig up dinosaurs. So when I go out looking for dinosaurs, it's not like Jurassic Park where you find the whole dinosaur all put together. 9 times out of 10 we're going to be missing the skull. So the skull usually breaks off and floats downstream. So I can use these ripple marks to help me figure out which way is downstream. Now, the other type we talked about are symmetric. So symmetric ripple marks are going to look something like this, right, where they're about even on both sides. This is telling me that my water is oscillating, meaning it's moving in both directions. So what happens is as the water moves this way, it pushes the dune that way a little bit, or the ripple mark, and as the water comes back this way, it's going to push it back this way a bit, so it keeps everything nice and symmetric. Most of the time we see our symmetric ripple marks at beaches, right, as the tide goes in and it goes back out. So hopefully that kind of helps clarify what ripple marks are for you.